Alright, let's pick right up where we left off with our fancy new blue man. I'm Blue Hank. Dabu dee dabu, damn it. Can't find that video no more. Not because it's bad or anything, it's just the guy took it down. Anyway, not to sound like a complete and total soy, but you know, our character kinda looks like a super battle droid. This chocolate soylent is so good. But yeah, he does, except that he's transparent. You know, honestly, it's pretty impressive that they managed to do transparencies in a PS1 game. I know that was a bit of a sticking point with early 3D systems. The Saturn definitely could not do transparencies. They would just have those fake transparencies. I'm sure there's a Digital Foundry video on this topic. And then with the Dreamcast, Sega was so proud of the fact that they could finally do transparencies that they wanted to show it off. And that's why the first character you see in Sonic Adventure is a transparent water monster. We need to show off that this new system is better than the old one, so let's design a character around this technical flaw that the previous system had. Subconsciously showing the player that we do not have that flaw any longer. Ain't it interesting to think about the actual thought process behind all of these decisions that were made back in the good old days of gaming? Those houses in the background certainly look very Akira Toriyama-esque, don't they? He had a very recognizable style, that is for sure. Anyway, so a couple of times I've alluded to the fact that this was a Japan exclusive, and you might have noticed that all the text is still in English anyway, and you might think, oh, how delightful, that means I can play this game myself with relative ease. But no, you would be wrong, viewer, the text isn't normally all translated. Like you see here, I had to do some computer science wizardry to make that happen. I had to visit a very old website in order to get the patch to translate all of the text. And then all of the links on that old website were dead, so then I had to go someplace else. But the end product is all the text is readable, thankfully. There isn't much of a market for PS1 translation patches in the year 2025, so I had to search far and wide in order to get that patch that I needed. I will travel far and wide, searching across the land. Wait, fuck, did I get it backwards? I will travel across the land, searching far and wide, boom, boom, boom. I don't know the rest. Isn't that cool? We got a ring out and we took out his health at once. So this next guy we're fighting, he has lore. Yes, there's lore, ladies and gentlemen. Lore in the world of Tobal. Within the Tobal world, he's supposed to be like a man and a chicken hybrid of some kind. Kinda hard to tell in simplistic PS1 graphics, but the cutscenes in Tobal 1 expand on this idea more. He has like even little chiclets that are like mini versions of himself that presumably hatched from eggs or something. Yeah, there's a whole story to what's going on here. Now I'm just thinking of that clip from Toy Story 2 where Rex yells, "It's the Chicken Man!" Remember that? Remember Big Al in his chicken costume from Toy Story 2? Played by voice actor Wayne Knight. That was a good movie. They should put Big Al, Weird Al. They should put Wayne Knight's character from Toy Story 2 in this game. I mean, hell, we got 200 characters, what's one more? Now when I say 200 characters, one thing to keep in mind is that numbers perhaps may be just a little inflated. Even though there are technically that many, that they don't all have the depth of a normal fighting game. I mean, obviously. You're not gonna have Street Fighter level complex movesets on a roster of that size. So a lot of these are duplicates and palette swaps, and pretty much all the generic enemies that aren't part of the main cast have relatively simple moves. There are drawbacks, dear viewer. You will not see the depth of Street Fighter. That is for sure.
Ready? Fight!
Picture this, viewer. If the developers of this game could cram so much content onto a simple 300 megabyte PS1 CD, just how big do you think a potential Tobal number 3 could be if they did that on the modern systems? If they had like a Final Fantasy sized budget and made like a PS5 game with this concept, they could easily get to 1,000 characters if they wanted. The QA testing on a game like that would be utterly nightmarish, though. Heavens to Betsy, I would hate to have that job. Anywho, so I was gonna ask why this series never managed to get popular despite having a mountain of content in it, but I guess I've kinda already answered that question in my own mind. The issue is that the difficulty is too big of a barrier for players to actually access all of the content that's in this game. And as such, that's why they never made a Tobal number 3, and that's why Tobal number 2 never left Japan. Just with those randomized items where you can't tell if they're good or bad, it's like people aren't gonna go for this. Even skilled players like myself, there's no way to tell them apart what the hell you're supposed to do. Maybe it wasn't that bad for Japanese players. They're just built different over there. You know, speaking of Japan, last night I watched an old Japanese horror movie from the 70s. It's called House. You may have heard of it. It's a bit of a cult classic, and what can I say? That's something I'm gonna remember for a very long time, I'll say that much. That movie is completely off the rails. The editing was really annoying, but I guess that was just kind of the point. The fact that they had to cram edits into every single second of the movie. There was a comment I read that really summed it up. They said it's like if Tim and Eric made Scooby-Doo. And yeah, that is scary accurate. So, I wanted to see if there was a difficulty setting, and yes, there was. Would you look at that? Well, I guess that gives us reason enough to go for another episode, see if we do any better this time.